Hey, YouTubers. It's Money Mindset Coach. My name is Valerie. I've been a hairdresser, real estate agent, mom, grandma. I'm a divorced older lady. I always say something different in the beginning. Oh well. I wanted to start out the day by saying that this probably is going to be a video about the best deals that I've ever gotten. I'm not a person who tends to like to talk about how much money I spent, like expensive things. I would never tell anybody how much I paid for something if it was an expensive house or expensive car or whatever. I've always been a person who likes to talk about the great deal that I got, how little I paid for something, not how much I paid for something. And so basically, I'm going to be talking about the really good deals that I've gotten over the years. The first one, it was back when my kids were little and I was going to garage sales for their clothes and things like that, or anything else that I could find. But I went into this neighborhood. There was one particular subdivision called Sunset Hills that it was my favorite subdivision. I would have loved to have lived in there. It was kind of my dream. I never did, but if there was a garage sale in there, I would always go. Or an open house. I would go to open houses too in there. But it was my favorite subdivision in town. And I was driving around trying to find a garage sale to go to, probably on a Saturday morning. And there was this really nice house. All the houses were nice in there. But all I could see in this garage was one little card table in the middle of this two-car garage and this little old lady that was sitting there by herself having this garage sale, but it seemed like all she had was this card table. Well, usually I wouldn't stop at a garage sale like that. I would have just kept on going and thinking, she's an old lady. Because at that time I was probably in my 30s or 40s, and now I'm in my 60s. But back then I thought, oh, she's not going to have anything that I'm interested in. And there was something that just told me, give it a shot. What do you have to lose? If you don't see anything, you don't see anything. So I walked in there, and over on the step that goes into the house, she had some shoe boxes. And sure enough, there was a pair of really nice pumps that were Italian leather that had never been worn. They were still in the box, and the price tag was on the outside of the box, and it said $70. I've never paid $70 for a pair of dress shoes in my whole life. And back when I was in my 40s, I mean, this was a long time ago. This was 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago. $70 was completely out of reach. I would have never been able to pay that kind of money for a pair of shoes. Not when I had three boys that were all growing. I lived with what I had. I didn't have money to buy a lot of stuff for myself. And so she had $1 on these shoes. And at the time, I was in the worship team in the church we were in. And so I'm up in front of the congregation every Sunday. And, what you're wearing, I mean, for me to have a really nice pair of shoes like that, when my kids were all little and everything, it was really great. So that was a really great deal. The other thing that happened, gosh, this was after we moved into the tri-level, which I've talked about that in other videos. But I think my lawnmower died, and I went to Walmart with my youngest son, and we were going to get an electric. For some reason, I was really into the whole clean living and, environment and everything. And I still am. But I had one electric mower before that, but it had a long cord on it. It drove me nuts. I didn't want another one of those. I wanted one that could run by itself. No, it wasn't attached to a cord. It had battery. So anyway, we go into Walmart, And there were two electric lawnmowers that they had for sale. And they had one that was 150 and there was one that was 350. And of course, I wasn't going to get the $350 mower. I was going to get the $150 mower. Well, come to find out, they had the wrong prices on these lawnmowers. So they had $150 on the $350 mower and vice versa. So me and my son get this mower all the way over to the checkout, and it was in the garden center because it was springtime, and it rings up for 350. And I'm like, excuse me, it says 150 over there. I'm not paying 350 for this mower. This price is wrong. And we stood there for probably 15 minutes, but it seemed like a half an hour. And my middle son had worked at Walmart at one point in time. And when he heard this story, he told me, he said, well, you know why you were standing there all that time, right? And I said, no. And he said, they were checking all of the cameras out there to make sure that I had not switched the signs or that my son had not done that. They were checking to make sure that I had not done that. And the checker was so funny. She stood there and she said, you're going to get this price. You're going to get this mower for 150. I can tell you that. She knew what they were doing too. So basically we waited. It seemed like it was a half an hour. It was probably only about 15 or 20 minutes, but that was a long time to stand there because there was only one checkout open and there were other people that were in line. So they ended up leaving, going into the store and, getting checked out somewhere else. But I was kind of tying this particular checkout line, and I felt bad about that, but I knew I was right. And sure enough, the manager came out and said, we had the wrong price on it, and we're going to honor the $150 price. So I got a $350 electric lawnmower, Black & Decker, for $150. It was awesome. God, I was so psyched when I got home. So, and then I know I've talked about this on other videos, so you might have heard this before, but you can check out the other videos too. But I worked for several builders. It was normal for them to have an appliance sale. If, say, for instance, they had an inventory home that they had put black appliances in, and the people who bought the house didn't want those appliances and they wanted stainless steel instead, they would have to take those out. And they couldn't sell them as new. They couldn't put them in another house. So what they would do is they would offer that up to the employees for anybody who wanted some of these things. So the first builder that I worked for that did that, they'd send out an email and they'd say, these are the appliances that we're selling. This is what they're going for. They even had work trucks that they would eventually sell. And we ended up buying one of those for like $3,500. It was a big F-150. It wasn't great looking because it'd been a work truck, but hey, it did what it needed to do. But I got a microwave that way. I got a refrigerator for $800 instead of $1,200. The last builder that I worked for, they were the best. They were the best. I got clothes out of a master bedroom closet for $10. I got a $250 chair for $25. I got a $350 really unusual, very unique coffee table for $40. I mean, you can't beat that. I have so many things, furniture especially, in my house that I didn't pay that much for. I have one thing in my entryway that a friend of mine gave me. I have a Martha Washington sewing cabinet that I got from my mom and dad. I have a drop leaf table that literally can open and seat 10 people that I got for free. I got Amish chairs from the furniture store here in town that they were normally $500 a piece. I got them for $250 a piece. So I got two Amish chairs to go with this drop leaf table, because when I got that drop leaf table after my dad died, there were no chairs to it. They had it given to them by somebody else, and there was no chairs that came with it. So I went into the furniture store and I ended up finding these two Amish chairs that were matched the wood almost exactly. And they're comfortable. You know Amish. They know how to make furniture, and I'm going to have these chairs forever. I have a hutch on top of my buffet. I've always wanted a hutch. My brother's, or my boyfriend's oldest son and his wife gave that to me, and it's lighted and everything. It's really cool. So I have a lot of stuff like that. Actually, right behind me, you see that thing back there for display? That is something that my sister's house was built in 1957, and there were these two half walls and then a doorway that went into where their dining area was. She had two of those. She had one on one side on the half wall and one on the other side. And she would use it just like that, where she would put her little knickknacks and stuff like that. Well, when they redid their kitchen a couple years ago, I said to her, I said, gosh, I said, it's a shame to get rid of these things, because that was 1957. It was very character to a 1957 house, because she even had a built-in in the dining room that was really cool too, that had a light in it. But I loved that, and I always did the whole time they've lived there. And they lived there over 20 years before they finally redid the kitchen. Well, if you notice the wood on, right there, that's brown. Yeah, kind of weird to do with my hand. When they took the thing down, they had to put a board there up on top and on that side to keep the shape. Because once they took it down, I guess that one side was against the wall, so there really wasn't anything there. Or maybe if there was, it didn't survive being taken down. So anyway, during COVID, for me and my sister's birthdays, because we're both had birthdays in March, we had to meet in a park in Springfield, Illinois, outside, because no restaurants were open. This was 2020. We had to sit outside and have our lunch. It was a day in May, but it was kind of cold. But anyway, we were going to exchange birthday presents, because we always do that every year. She's my only sister, and it's special. And she opened up the trunk of her car, and that was in there. I was so excited. I couldn't believe that they gave that to me. What I want to do is I want to take it out of here and put it in my living room, but I have to have a mount. There's a certain way that that's going to have to be up on the wall to make sure that it doesn't fall off, and I'm just not really good with that kind of thing, and I'm going to need help. But I have it sitting on something, so it's really not attached to the wall. But that was something that my sister gave me for my birthday back in 2020 during COVID. So those are all the things that I can think of right now. I know there's probably some other things. But the other thing I'm doing this year is I'm doing buying no clothes, shoes, socks, anything that happens to do. If I needed something like underwear or something like that, I'd buy it, but I don't. I am going with a no buying clothes challenge for the year 2024. And I can tell you, I have never done this before, but I'm doing okay. So far, so good. We're in the, 3 months of 12. But what I'm doing is every video, I am wearing something different. So any video that you see, you're not going to see the same thing twice, because I have a lot of clothes. But I love clothes. My dad always called me a clothes horse. So basically, and I didn't like the term at first, but now I know what it means. But anyway, this top is long sleeved. It's the brand name is Ruby Road, which I'd never heard of it before. I got it, but I like it. It was a little bit colder today, so it's got a really nice soft feel to it. What I like about it, and I usually mention this, is I like these buttons right here. I kind of like the neckline. I usually stand up. Yeah. The sleeves kind of come down to here. I kind of like that they're not up here. But anyway, I got this at thrift store, like I get everything pretty much. So part of why I'm doing this and part of why I'm showing you something different every time is I'm wanting to show you uh, what what you can get at a thrift store. You can get fantastic quality. It's amazing for a few dollars. The one I go to on Tuesdays, it's anybody 55 and over gets 30% off of everything. That's the only day I go in there. I won't go in and pay 100% ever. So when I'm over getting my hair cut, there's one nearby, and I stop there. Every time I'm over that way, that's when I go in there, and I get my hair cut about every 2 months. So anyway, that's all for now. If you like this video, if you've gotten this far, probably should have said this in the beginning. Maybe I will. I will start saying it in the beginning and at the end. But if you like it, hit like, subscribe. I would be thrilled to see you next video. I love doing this. I mean, I'm hoping I get views. I know it's going to take time, but the more I think about it, the more I'm so enjoying doing these videos that I think it's going to be good for posterity. I mean, when I'm dead and gone, my kids and my grandkids will be able to see these videos, and maybe they'll learn something about me that they did not know, because they don't know everything. So many times your kids, they see you as their mom. They didn't realize that you had a whole life before they were born. They don't know. You know, they don't know that you had a life before that, but I did. And so maybe through this they'll learn a little more about me. But anyway, till next time, I will see you later in the next video. Bye.